Week in review, June 23rd, 2025. Just just right. Good week last week. Had a lot of testing going on, multiple days, multiple athletes, multiple events. So made a lot of progress there. All of that's tracking well. Have some testing going on tomorrow and just keep fine tuning and refining what we have for this show for this year. So it'll be a great event. It'll be great. There's going to be some great tests. There's going to be some great challenges. I'm really excited about the programming for this year. There was a Brazilian affiliate owner who dropped into the ranch last week, and I told him you don't have much time because we were testing. I'm like, so you kind of got to hang out and then go like in 10, 15 minutes. And he asked if he could do a workout, and I said, sure. And so I said only if I could program it for him. So he said he was a junior national champion or junior national weightlifter in Brazil. So I programmed him 21:59 pull-ups and squat snatch at 95 pounds. And I filmed it and I put it up on this channel. So pretty cool. First time I've ever filmed a video, workout video, and did an edit on it and put it all together. And I'm going to try to do that more often. And I want to tell you like what I hate that you see in this community so much. And all these artists do this, but the fucking zoom ins. Like, hey, as a trainer and as a CrossFitter and as a coach, I don't really want to see you guys zoom in all the way on the athletes, into their face or into their abs. Like, I want to see the human movement because that's where we're going to learn from, and that's where you're actually going to increase your ability as a trainer, is looking at the entirety, the full movement of the individual. So, as I film more of these workout videos, you will not see me do any of those gimmicky, artistic zoom-ins. I like just staying out. And even when I think about how I filmed that guy, I could have maybe panned a little more so you could really see the complete movement. But I think from that, you could see, I mean, he moved well. He moved very well on his squat snatch because of his background. His pull-ups, I think there might have been a communication breakdown because I think he was doing chest to bar and he was doing non-chest to bar. But anyways, my point being is I personally am not a fan of... one second, of all the zoom in artistic shots that we see on these athletes these days in a lot of the videos that the content creators make. Again, just like, let's see them move and let's learn from that and let's see where they're not opening up their hip or where they're inefficient with whatever aspect of it. I felt that way for a very long time too. Thursday, I went to Wyoming and I had a shooting competition that I did there Friday, Saturday, Sunday with my partner. He's a Coast Guard guy from San Diego. And we were doing really well on day 1 and day 2. Day 3, we didn't do as well, but we still finished 5th. And so really happy about that. We got a trophy and teams from all over the country went. Really good. It's my favorite shooting competition of the year for the format because there's a lot of running. And so each day you do this hour-long course where there's 4 different stages you go to and it's all dictated off your time. And when you get there, you have to find, range, and engage a number of targets. You do that 4 times. You do 3 of those courses, 1 each day. On 2 of the courses, we had the fastest time like by several minutes over everyone else. Meaning, and the speed there is the movement is one piece, but also the ability to quickly find the targets and then quickly engage the targets. On one of them, our shooting was really good. The other one was okay, and then the final day, the wind got us, and so we were really fast, but we still didn't get the necessary hits to move us into essentially the top 3. I will say this about not getting the hits, though. You're going to go, or people will go, well, you were moving too fast. You should have slowed down. Us not getting the hits was not because of the speed we were moving. Us not getting the hits was because we just made the wrong calls at times. But by the time we were taking the shots, we were collected and we were not super high elevated heart rate. But anyways, really good competition. Had a lot of fun. I saw today on Instagram... and on that Wyoming trip, so on the way out, I'm supposed to fly from Monterey to Denver to Casper. My flight in Monterey got delayed. I landed in Denver, completely missed the connection flight to Casper, went to get a rental car. The rental car line went out the door, and it was an hour wait just to get the rental car. And then it took me 3.5 hours because I had to drive now, to drive to Casper. On the way back, basically I left the shooting match and went to the airport yesterday at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and I did not get home today until 10 o'clock. So like 20 hours 20 hours of travel, tons of delays, stayed in the airport overnight. I didn't pull the thing where I like went to sleep on a chair or anything. I actually tried to get a hotel, but the hotel was booked up, the one at Denver airport. So I was there for probably, through the night, got on a flight this morning to LA, Monterey. Horrible travel experience on the way out there, horrible travel experience on the way back. I don't think I've had one that bad in a very long time. Minus the time I got stuck in Japan with Greg Glassman and Andy Stump. But that's another story for another time. Sprague. So Sprague, I saw him post that he did an Ironman triathlon. And I just skimmed it. I think his total time was 5:55, which is really good. I looked at some of the stats and his marathon time. So at the end of an Ironman, you run a marathon. It was like 140 something. And that's really impressive. And then I think he said the swim averages on the 100s were like 130. So, I mean, I've run a couple marathons way back in the day before I was into CrossFit when I was a young Navy guy. And I did like a 126 and a 130. And so he was 146 at the end of all of that other stuff. And he's strictly training for CrossFit. That's pretty impressive. So kudos to Sprague. That's awesome to see him get out there and do something like that when the games are right around the corner. Go check out what he put up or put out, and very impressive. I'm impressed by that. At Ty Phelan, let's get into comments now. At Ty Phelan 909, hey Dave, in your affiliate interview with Ben Smith, you referenced the Froning era and how most of the prominent athletes owned affiliates and the rest trained at one. Do you think we'll ever see that level of community involvement again? And if so, what are the steps to getting there? Cheers. I don't think we will, and I also think it's okay. It's just evolved that way in that direction, and I think for where the sport is now, you're going to see what you're seeing. And you're going to see a majority of these athletes just focus on competing. They're starting so young. So since they're starting so young, they're not really interested in opening up a gym or business at that age. They're interested in competing. So I think it will never be that way. And I also think that's okay. It's evolution. It's just how it's going. It's where the sport's at. It's where the community's at. I do think a lot of the current, there's like Dallin and Sprague, and there's a lot of modern athletes who are trying to be more involved in their community and at their affiliates than maybe the past few years. So that is cool seeing, but I don't think that's going to mean that means that at this stage, when those guys are competitive like they are, that they're going to run off and open up a gym. I actually, honestly, like if you're young and you're competing at a high level and you're a contender, it's probably not good advice to go run in a gym. Maybe when you retire, maybe when you get out of competing, it's a great fallback. But you think back to that era too. Those guys, Froning, Smith, Ben Smith, so the statement I was going to say about Froning kind of applies to Ben. For the most part, those guys weren't doing CrossFit when they're 10, 11, 12, where a lot of these modern athletes were. And so those guys started CrossFit at a later stage in life, older, maybe opening up a gym made a lot of sense to have a business, etc. And the sport, the competitiveness at the sport, or the necessity to really be training 24/7 for this wasn't there at the time. Although I think Rich was the first athlete who really elevated the time spent and needed to train for the games to a whole other level. At Sean in Oregon, what were the double under tips you gave to the Navy pilot? So I asked him to do some double unders. First thing, his rope was way too long. He was out here. I told him you got to use a much shorter rope, and I showed him where he should be specifically. Second of all, I asked him to do some singles. He was pretty good with the singles. I think the number one thing when you have someone who can't do double unders is watch them do single unders. Because I've seen tons of people who try who are trying to learn double unders, and you ask them to do some single unders, and they have no technique and they can barely do a single under. It's all progressions. Single under is the foundation. Once you have a solid, upright, nice, clean, low jump single under, then we can start worrying about introducing the double under. But I always go there with people who have double under issues. Let's see your single unders first. And then the other piece I talked to him was a cue I learned from Dave Newman recently that was really good recently, a year ago. I never thought of when to jump with where the rope is. But he said basically once the rope's in this zone here, that's when you want to initiate your jump. And it made a lot of sense. Makes more sense for the complicated movements like crossovers and triple unders. But even for teaching someone the basics of a double under, it makes sense. At Andy Rosenbaum 4037, the team series was rad. I think it stopped when the Open moved to October. What about bringing that back? I'd love to bring that back. I think the team series was rad. Hopefully we can do something like that again soon. At the Clooney's Adventures, Dave, would you write a book on leadership with all of your experiences in the military and CrossFit? It'd be a great read, or do a podcast on it. There's tons of people who are doing leadership stuff, and there's tons of people who are doing it really well. And I also don't like the whole leadership realm of like this talking at people and telling people how it is. I think leadership's really dynamic, and I think there's a lot of different approaches, and there's a lot of good ways to do it. And the best avenues for developing it is in practical application and actually leading and doing it, and not just listening to people talk about it. And I don't like preaching. What I mean by that is I don't like telling people like some of these leadership guys are very preachy in my mind. And so no, I would never do that. Not even interested. And I also think and here's the other piece. I think my leadership style is way like unconventional. Like I'm not a traditional cookie cutter leader. I have my own ways to do it. It probably doesn't work for other people, and that's one of the reasons why I wouldn't recommend it to others. My experiences for the last 2 decades, and even 3 or 4 decades as a human, but my two decades as an adult, are unique to me, and my leadership takes from how I was raised here by my father, my interactions with my brother, obviously the decade and a half I was in the Navy, and then the last 2 decades I've been doing the CrossFit thing. So my leadership style is unique to me, I think, and because of all those experiences I've had. So, and I also don't know if it's a good one to tell other people to do. There's components and there's things for sure that are nuggets that I could recommend to people, but for the most part, that's not my game. And I wouldn't do a podcast on it or do a book. But thank you. I appreciate that you'd be interested in that. At Gil Minow 1, which event are you most excited about the games? Event number 3, 5, 6. I could go on. There's a number. There's a good number of them that I'm very excited about. At QXWX, Dave, the Community Cup was a huge hit at our gym with nearly 30 members participating thanks to the excellent and accessible workouts. As an affiliate owner, a unified view on the competition dashboard or leaderboard showing all our participating gym members, their ranking and status would be incredibly beneficial. This was a valuable feature during the Open for member tracking celebrations and in-house awards. Right now, getting that full picture means clicking through each of the 5 skill levels on the dashboard and then manually searching for individual members on the leaderboard. While I appreciate finding the affiliate link on the dashboard that shows a roster, it doesn't currently display rankings or status. Okay, very good feedback. I appreciate that. I'll make sure the team gets that. He went on. There was more. For future competitions, could the team integrate rankings and status into the existing affiliate roster view or reintroduce a comprehensive affiliate member filter to streamline participant tracking for gym owners? I'll pass this on. I hope your week is great, Dave and team. Dale. Thanks for the note, Dale. Appreciate it. At Kelly Lewis 8264. Dave, that is my comment you read about the games movements rarely being duplicated. Really enjoy following how you program. I pulled out your book again last summer before the games to reread about your creative process. I love hearing your insights. Sad I missed you in DC last week as I am here now for an Army school. I also teach at West Point with Allison Brager, and we would love to have you come up and visit and work out with our cadet affiliate. West Point's a beautiful academy, beautiful service academy. I went there about a year and a half ago, 2 years maybe, and I was really impressed by it. I would love to go back to West Point, and so if the offer is available, hit me up and I'll try to make that happen. Not before the games, but maybe at some point this year. And I'd love to work out with the cadets. I'll program a workout for them. At Jeff Howard AFK, I don't know what kind of support that affiliate owner needs, but the community cup went great at my affiliate. One thing we talked about for next year is that it'd be cool to do a community vote for one of the workouts next year. Vote for one of the 2025 workouts to be included in the 2026 cup. Then affiliates submit 2 new workouts knowing the repeat workout. That's a really good idea. I like it. At Fusion Gains, thank you for addressing my comment on the Community Cup. I saw a comment on the Facebook affiliate group saying they ran all 3 workouts as a one-day competition on a Saturday. I really like the idea, and I'll do that if it returns next year. At CrossFit Masters Gym Tainment 7661. Hi, Dave. Quick question. I've done level 1 and level 2 and judges course previously. I CrossFit daily in a box and teach functional movement. I'm sure there are many others similar to me. Please kindly explain why my level 1 and level 2 expire and require renewal. Other substantially more complex and demanding licenses and qualifications I possess do not require similar 5-year reinstatement or costs to maintain. So I don't know the ones you're talking about, but pretty much a majority of licenses or certifications or certificate courses, even specifically in the fitness world, but even outside of the fitness world, have reval requirements. And when you look at the NSCA, their CSCS, it's a 3-year revalidation requirement, and the ACE certification is 2 years. So actually, there's a strong argument that ours at 3 years or 5 years, is too long. We are looking at some other models where continuing education and or subscription-based content to maintain your qual instead of doing it once every 5 years. So basically, you get fed monthly content and you consume it and maybe take tests eventually to maintain the credential, and you don't have to go to the credential again. So we're looking at some alternate ways to do it. But thank you for the comment. At Enrique Noriega 3132, the Community Cup was fun. Keep doing it. Your new microphone is pretty cool. Thanks. Yeah, it's good. At the Noble Savage, hey Dave, what's CrossFit's approach to hosting international athletes considering the current political climate at the borders airports? Is there appropriate work being done with the Albany authorities to ensure that no athletes are detained or arrested due to the suspicion of being illegal alien? Thanks for your time. I don't think that's going to be an issue. I don't think anybody's going to come to the games and roll anyone up. But if that were to happen, we have security and we have people there to handle the situation. So I imagine all these athletes coming are not coming illegally. They're coming via the proper channels, so they'll all be fine. At Nick Altgilbers, Dave, hard to tell from the video, but it looks like an SAS symbol on the frame over your right shoulder. Recently retired USAF JTAC here. Did some work with them. Spent a lot of time with your UK counterparts at SBS. I've done a lot of work with the SBS too. Some of the best operators I had the privilege of working with. Is your team going to be involved at all in the programming of the Masters Games? I hope there's at least some oversight. I'm pretty sure there's going to be oversight, but they're programming. But we'll give them some feedback. Oh, yeah, it is. I never noticed that you could actually see it. But yes, it is SAS. There's an SAS plaque there with that friend gave to me who was part of SAS. At Trista Luka Zuski. Community Cup was fun, but needs some work. The Open needs a bit more advanced movements in order to correctly get your level. For me, I've been doing CrossFit for over a year, and I've become absolutely obsessed. However, I was placed in Pro Division and don't have the ability to do strict handstand push-ups. I got through the bar muscle-ups with singles in the Open, better now in the Community Cup, because I have fairly well-developed pulling strength, but not pressing yet, relative anyways. I had to drop to the advanced option of kipping handstand pull-ups and not put in a score, so it just sucks. Yes, so I've heard some back and forth on some of the scales. Yes, I hear what you're saying, and we will continue to look at it and take a look at the data we got from this year's group and make the right adjustments in the future. At Dan Pato, Dave, is Hillary getting a media pass? Week 2 of asking, and then one dark. Oh, I'm not going to say that. Said, why is this even semi-important to you? Dave is not going to reply to you, man. I am replying to him, and I don't know. I don't even know if he applied for a media pass, but the team who handles our media passes, I'll ask them. I don't know. Maybe he did. Maybe he didn't. And I don't know what decision they're going to make, but, let that team do their thing and make the decision they need to make. A couple announcements tomorrow. A couple cool things. So pay attention. We have an announcement, and there'll be another announcement. Exciting. Both of them are exciting. So games related. Okay, let me get... that way, people don't think that that we're announcing that the company sold. That's not happening. So, but there's a couple announcements coming out tomorrow. So pay attention to the scene, and if you're a fan, etc. I think you guys will like them. All right, that's the week in review. Thanks a lot. Post your comments your comments in the thoughts in the comments, and I'll get to them next week. All right, bye.